The Tangent Egg podcast is aimed at a mature audience. It contains themes that are not appropriate for all listeners. It's important to note that we are not experts. We routinely have no idea what we're talking about and are just three idiots sitting around a table. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Tangent Egg podcast. It's me, Seth, as always, joined by Swoosh and Dan.
Hi.
Hello.
And I've got two pieces of news for you guys this week, and I think you will be very excited by both of them. First up, we did an extra episode this week. It has gone live the day before this one does on Friday, with Oliver from New Edge Sword and Sorcery. It's an upcoming magazine, and we had an absolute delight of a time.
It was pretty fun
hanging out with him.
Yeah, very cool bloke. Very
so
cool
I would
topic.
highly encourage you guys check out that episode if you haven't already. I certainly hope you have. We put a lot of effort into getting that one sorted out with him since he's in Canada and we're in Australia, so that's a bit of a time pain in the butt.
That was the only issue with this one, the fact that Oliver's energy is infectious, and it got me really hyped about this thing he's doing. Like, I want this now. And then I had to try and go to bed.
Yeah, absolutely had the same problem.
That was so
That's why I was
difficult.
drinking rum through it, so I knew at the end, right, I can just go to bed now.
See, I didn't think that far ahead, and that's my stupidity.
And
Always have rum ready.
The second piece of news, people may have noticed, because we finally got our artwork done. We finally have our new logo.
Yay!
We put it out live on all the socials last week, and if you've checked Spotify recently, you'll have seen that all of the previous episodes have all been updated with the new artwork, but we really love it. It's really, really good.
The more I look at it, the more I like it, and that's a dangerous thing. It's amazing.
We found
Very
a
happy
great
with it.
artist to turn Swoosh's basic sketch into a final design, and I think it came out amazingly.
It worked out pretty well. We'll have to put up some information for his Fiverr and everything on there when we can, but yeah, definitely good.
Absolutely, we'll get that done. Well, that's a little bit of housekeeping done. Time to get on with the rest of the show. And I think we're going to start with Sony admitting a big old whoopsie.
Yeah.
So
It's their own
Sony-
stupid fault.
Pretty much. So Sony basically set Spider-Man's price incorrectly in a number of territories. One, of course, is the good old land down under where we live, which was to set the game at $115. It has now been dropped back down to, I think it's 93.
Yeah, I can only...
Conversions.
Anytime I look at that, it's like, oh, they accidentally has to be the biggest air quotes I've ever fucking seen.
It's accidentally like 15% higher than where it was in the States.
Yeah.
So where, like you said, Humble Bundle had a 15% discount, which that discount brought it down to the price it's currently at. So either they accidentally jacked it up 15% everywhere and then got busting on, oh fuck, or like what else could have really happened there? Like, it's
I imagine
$5.
Humble was
idea.
just being nice. Like, you know what? Fuck it. That's not worth that much. We'll take it down a notch. Because it is a draw for them. Like,
It makes you wonder, did Humble actually get it and they were only having to pay the $94 and they were thinking, oh fuck, no, we get 15% out of this? Or did they go, oh fuck, we're just going to do the members discount and we'll wear the difference of the cost? Like, so where do
I
they
think
actually
they
take
might get
out?
it cheaper, to be honest. I think they work out deals for Humble, since a lot of their stuff goes to charity, that they get it as a cheaper write-off from most of the companies. But I've never looked into it, but I imagine that what might be happening.
Honestly,
Hopefully.
I have no idea. All I know is the affected territories were Australia, Israel, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Switzerland, and the UK. So, you know, some smaller places, some bigger places. It doesn't even have consistency. It's not like, oh, everyone south of the border got fucked. It's just a couple of random places.
Which is sort of weird. Like, why was the pricing set so differently for those? Because I imagine when they upload the game and they set the pricing, they sort of have to go through and say, right, well, this is the pricing in, I'm assuming they upload it in America, so they upload it, this is the USD for that we want for it. shouldn't that just translate across to every other territory? Adding
I've
in
never tried
whatever
to
other
put-
taxes that it needs? Like, that means they've had to go through and specifically set those prices for those countries for it to be fucked up like that.
Which is a bit
I mean,
weird to
yeah.
begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly don't know how uploading something... I've never tried to publish a game on Steam or something like that, so I honestly have no idea how it actually functions, but it's such a random smattering. It's not even like, oh, it was really expensive in Europe because they fucked up the conversion or whatever price setting they decided for the euro.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's the euro, the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar, the British pound, and I don't know what currency they use in Israel. So it's a real head scratcher how the fuck that happened.
I'm sure it's a real coincidence that one of the biggest buyers of games was jacked up. Like, Australia has a huge gaming market. Like,
They don't seem to care about us too often. We'll buy a lot of games.
oh yeah, that's the weird thing. It's a very abusive relationship, isn't it? Like, we buy so
It
many
is.
games, and the general consensus from like the game industry is, you know what? Fuck Australia. Like, guys, come on.
They
Well,
don't need
that's-
servers for all the games they've just bought.
Oh
That's
god.
right up until someone pokes the bear that's Australia, and then you get, you know, refund policies because fuck you, Steam.
I still
Yes.
love that Blizzard is afraid of Australian government now.
Look, I will always just laugh at the Steam one where they're like, nah, man, we're in the United States, specifically DC, so we can do anything we want. And the ACCC was like, nah, cunt.
That doesn't work.
Selling shit
here.
here, can't you follow our fucking rules?
Damn
I just like the
right.
fact that when they threatened, like, oh, we just won't sell in Australia, it's like, okay, good luck, because there's a lot of demographic you're missing there.
And they caved pretty hard, and everybody can thank Australia for Steam having a refund policy because we got you that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You don't poke the bear.
You don't poke the drop bear. Let's be honest.
But, and it with the Spider-Man being dropped back down to the 94, if you look around, Epic Store still has it listed at 109, which is sort of weird. Like,
That
why
is a
has
bit
everyone else
strange.
dropped it? Have they just not got the message, or are they just like, fuck it, we're going to gouge that extra few dollars out of everyone?
Maybe they
Like,
think it's
that
like
just
NFTs.
seems
If they
odd.
hold on to it long enough, it goes back up in value.
The thing we haven't sold yet has to be worth some more now. Now that
They're-
everyone else can get it cheaper.
They're crypto broing their own product, which is great.
I mean, I can't help but say fuck Epic.
yeah, no, I
I
get
don't
that.
care about their stupid browser. Not browser, their game launcher. It's terrible. A lot of the stuff on it's priced weirdly. They've caused piles of controversy, and I mean,
I hate their
I have
business
no
practice of
statistics.
just taking games right before launch. I fucking hate
Yeah.
that they do that. It's like, oh, this is ours now. This is exclusive for a year. Like, I'm not getting your fucking launcher. Go away.
It's exclusive for a year, and by the time it comes out everywhere else, no one else cares about it. It's like, alright, I didn't give a fuck about it as soon as it went to there. I'm not going to give a fuck a year later.
Pretty
Hell,
much.
a year later, you'll probably be able to pick it up as a Game of the Year edition with old DLC.
Yeah. Like,
Cheaper too.
some companies surely drop it on Epic, then patch the shit out. I drop it as a fucking alpha or beta on Epic, patch the shit out of it, and then just do another full launch when it goes to fucking Steam or GOG or fucking anywhere else. Like,
I really just want Epic to go under. Please.
I don't want Epic to go under. I just want them to give up on the fucking launcher. Like, Epic still makes stuff I like, but their launcher just needs to go die in a fire.
Yeah.
It's not worth the investment time. And I mean, it clearly isn't because they're continuing to report losses on it. You can see that they're no longer getting, year-long exclusivity deals.
Yeah,
they're
they dropped
dropping
down
down
to
to more
6
like
months.
6 to 3 months.
Yeah.
So clearly it's not panning out in the long run, or people are, and I have zero statistics to back it up because, again, not a game developer, but clearly people aren't taking their deals as readily. There's no more, you don't really see the big like AAA title just suddenly goes to Epic. There's a lot more of like, no, it's going to come out in a couple places. We're not falling for Epic's crap.
Well, the way that Epic functions is they pay out a certain amount of copies, right? which is the projected amount that they want for the game. Now, the issue with that is, once that happens, sure, they've made their money. They've made money back on investment. Awesome. But they're not going to be a runaway success. They're not going to get the additional sales they might have gotten had they just gone with a launch across all titles. Because, sure, they got the bare minimum they needed to keep going. But they haven't gambled to get the possible extra.
I mean, this is where I point to like the fact that I don't have any statistics, because, like I said, you just aren't seeing those deals happen, which means clearly, much as you just said, it's got to be not panning out. I remember I first heard about that being how that worked back when Control came out. Their developer pointed out that they got a percentage of what they thought they'd get, just as a lump. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's why you would go with Epic. Epic's willing to pay you before you even earn money.
Yeah.
And to a studio on an unknown product or a new IP, that probably sounds really good. It's like, we might get, I don't know, just for the sake of the discussion, let's say you get 40% of what you could make up front. Cool, well, we've already made 40% of what we think we'll get for this game without even trying.
Yeah.
On a new IP that we don't know if is going to go off or not. That's probably a pretty tasty deal, but like I said, you're not seeing that happen as much. So I think something's souring the milk, and people have noticed.
Definitely.
Well, it's souring the milk, and communities for certain games, like if they're not releasing to such a broad spectrum of you can get it anywhere you want, whole sections of communities that don't like Epic Store are just completely ignoring the game. Like it happened. Like personally, I found when Rebel Galaxy's Outlaws was meant to drop, it was like, oh, it's going to be everywhere, and then they had a deal for the Epic Store, and it's like, well, I stopped giving a fuck, and me looking at it, majority of the Reddit page that was like, oh my god, this is coming out, it's like, alright, well, it dropped off massively, and suddenly it was like, so when's the Steam release? And that's all anyone really gave a fuck about.
Yeah.
And by the time it came around to it, like, it went from, like, I remember when I first signed up to it, it's like close to 30,000 people in the Reddit, like, subscribed to it, and when it actually dropped, it was just a couple of thousand. Like, it had dropped that much, because by the time it came out, who cared? Like,
it was almost a soft boycott.
Better games out there.
It's like a weird soft boycott where people aren't actively going, you know what, fuck Epic, we're all going to get together and stop it. But everyone's just gone, you know what, fuck Epic, and on their own decided to wander off and not deal with it.
Yeah.
Not even just fuck Epic, it's just fuck exclusivity. I want to be able to get it where I want it, not like I know they do it on it's done a lot on consoles, and that's mainly done to help sell the fucking console.
Yeah.
And even that's sort of getting the foundations whittled away on it, with more and more PlayStation games coming to PC, and a lot of Xbox launch titles dropping day one on PC, which is fucking awesome. So PC is getting best of both worlds, and we really haven't had to deal with exclusivity like all that much, because normally if it comes out on PC you can just get it wherever you want, but now there's certain stores that are trying to force it, and people just don't want to fucking deal with it. If I want a game, I want to get it where I want to get it. I don't want to have to deal with another fucking launcher.
I think the best example of that was EA, because they started their own launcher. They picked up all of their toys and went, nope, we're not playing in the Steam sandbox anymore, and all fucked off and made their own sandbox. And where do you buy your EA stuff now? Back on Steam.
Yeah. They backed down on that after they realized just how much money they'd have to put into it, I think. It's like, oh, we'd have to do this properly, all from the ground up, or just pay Steam to do it. Let's just pay Steam to do it. Fuck. It's easy.
It's the same as Activision Blizzard finding that now. Like, the next Call of Duty title is the first to be launched on Steam in a fucking long time. They've always been on the fucking Blizzard launcher, which was shit in itself.
Yeah.
But there's more and more companies coming around to, oh fuck, hang on, someone else can manage all this bullshit.
We don't have to
even
do
if you're gonna make your own launcher, you need to integrate it. You need to have it play ball. As much as I know we're pretty sour on Ubisoft right now, I don't hate their launcher as much because you could link it to Steam. So when I launched a Ubisoft game, it would just automatically log me into Uplay and launch the game. I didn't see Uplay.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to have your own one, fine, but it's got to play ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd be happier if Ubisoft also came to the party and dropped all of their games on Steam as well. Just
That'd be
make
great.
life easier.
I mean, all their stuff is.
Not all of it. So, like, The Division 2, which I played a lot of,
Really?
like, that's not on there. There's quite a bit. I don't think Assassin's Creed Valhalla's on there. I think it's still on the Uplay.
Some of their big stuff they keep on their launcher
Wait.
until a certain
I think
point.
there's still
I'm
quite a bit that's
sure.
still limited to the Uplay.
I know their old back catalogs on Steam.
Yeah,
but-
they've dropped a heap of the old Splinter Cells and a lot of the games they fucking killed the servers for. They've dropped onto Steam.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty certain most of their newer stuff is Uplay only. Which is
I could
annoying.
have sworn I saw Assassin's Creed on Steam.
You may find some of the older ones, but the newer
Oh
ones
yeah,
aren't.
yeah. No, I meant like Valhalla. I know I didn't buy Valhalla on Steam because I went through their actual launcher because I could get a 20% discount by buying it through their launcher.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Like, you spend those little 100 tokens, you get a 20% discount.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
could
free
not
money
get
right
into that
there.
game. Like, could not for the life of me get into that game.
Because it's not an Assassin's Creed game. It's
And
an
not in a
RPG
fun way,
with
like
an
Black
Assassin's
Flag.
Creed bow.
Like, Black Flag was not an Assassin's Creed game. That was a pirate game masquerading as an Assassin's game to get
Yeah,
the popularity for it.
that
but
That was
that
a
was the good
pirate
version.
game with the Assassin's Creed logo on an eye patch. That's
Yeah.
all it was.
It was like two sides of the same coin, essentially. It's like, oh, there's the good version, and then there's Valhalla.
Yeah. But you're finding even more, like, so EA Plus, whatever it is, their subscription model where you get access to all of those games, that's now available on Steam, which is pretty fucking cool. Ubisoft have got their own, and apparently they're bringing that. Apparently that's meant to be added into the Xbox Ultimate, whatever the fuck that subscription service is.
Oh, yeah.
So you soon you'll be able to get all the Ubisoft games in that, which you can already get the EA
fuck yeah.
games in that.
Nice.
So
Which is where I play them.
yeah, so I think like more and more of those things, if they're gonna have them, they need to make them more accessible. They need to bring them out to more friggin' places because
I might have to
Yeah.
buy
Otherwise-
an Xbox now.
yeah, like you put them in a walled garden, either you're gonna lock people in or people aren't gonna want to look over the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is those walls are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So more people can see the greener grass.
Yeah,
And they will start to jump ship.
Because, like,
Fucking
back
hell.
in the day, when I was a kid, it was like your Nintendo kid or your Sega kid. And
the good old
the
days.
walls were really high because, when you're a kid, you also were at the behest of what will your parents buy you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, the walls were very high. There were big exclusives on both. You really couldn't get them anywhere else. These days, not so much. There's definitely some big ticket items, but as more and more of them want to release on multiple platforms or, coming to PC, those walls are getting pretty, like, knee-high at this point.
Yeah,
You
like-
can see where the grass is greenest for the type of gaming you want to do.
Yeah, brand loyalty is no longer really a thing for gaming, I think. Like, consoles, PC, there's still that whole thing of, PC versus consoles, but I don't give a shit. I will play a game on whatever I have access to.
Yeah.
Most gamers are the same. We don't give a damn about what it's being played on as long as the game is good.
no, and the only real walled garden that still exists is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Everything else is branching out, and Nintendo's still very much, no, lock the doors. You're either in here or
Well-
you're out there.
Sort of. It's really weird because, like, Nintendo's like, no, all our properties are ours, go fuck yourself. But at the same time, they're like, oh, but the couple of games that do exist on other consoles, like Minecraft, alright, we'll cross-play with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Whereas
that
it's
comes
Sony
about
who's
with
like-
the Microsoft deal with friggin' Nintendo. Like, because there was the rumor of Master Chief being in Smash, like, for a while
Yeah.
there, which never panned out, but they're starting to bring other IPs into Nintendo stuff, but I don't think you'll see a fucking
Oh, no.
Nintendo IP on another fucking console anytime soon.
Nintendo are like the Disney of gaming, essentially. They've been grandfathered in for so fucking long that they've become like the gentleman's club kind of thing. Like, no, this is where the fancy hang out. You can't be in here, peasant. And then they became a family kids console. Like,
I think it's more that, like, Nintendo just decided they weren't going to play the game. They weren't going to get into the console wars anymore. They're so over it. They've been around the block enough times. They have enough of a fan base. They don't have to fight Sony and Microsoft or any other company. They can just do their own thing and fuck it, we're going to go play our own game.
Which I'm kind of glad they did, because we got the Switch out of it.
We got the Switch out of it, but, like, sure, they're not competing in the console wars as they are with, like, the Xbox and the PlayStation. Like, more graphics, more power, more this, more that. All they're competing with now is, I've got a tablet with more processing power than the fucking Switch, and the tablet's fucking 3 years older.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're competing with now.
The Steam Deck's the big one that could possibly start eating into them. A friend of mine recently imported one, and I've gotten to hold and play with one, and it's really good.
I have
really,
so whether
really
they want
is.
competition or not, they're getting it. Like they need
they
to do
absolutely
something
will.
to update fucking everything. Like that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that came out. Like, it looks like an awesome game, but the game world looks like a game that came out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like a new, oh my god, fucking title. It looks like a JRPG from 5 years ago on the Xbox or PlayStation.
Well, at this point, I think the Switch has become Babby's first console. Because it's...
Yeah.
Most kids are handed a tablet when they're very young to play with and poke the colourful things. And a Switch is just a slightly different way of playing with a tablet, like, when you think about it. So... I wouldn't suppose that's why it's the transfer across. Like, oh, they know how to deal with this. There you go. And then move on.
There's a reason the cartridges have got a bit of flavouring built into them to stop children from chewing on them.
Yeah.
Like it's... mate,
I love that...
Kid, do not eat this.
When the internet found out about this, and then every single person's like, well, now I have to lick the fucking cartridge. Like, why?
Hey, anyone listening to this that doesn't know... Go find a Switch, find any cartridge, and just lick it. Just
see what happens.
Lick it.
Leave a comment and tell us what happens.
Speaking of brand loyalties and the whatnot, Sony's actually starting to shake a little in their boots with the whole Activision Microsoft deal, because if that goes through, Microsoft will own Call of Duty, and they're actually very and somewhat reasonably concerned that might cause a bunch of console swaps.
Yeah.
It's been noted for a while now that Call of Duty is one of, if not, I can't remember, like, I haven't got statistics up in front of me, but I know at one point it was the highest selling piece of digital entertainment was the Call of Duty franchise.
Well, one of the arguments I had is it's that such a large title that it's one of the few things that when Call of Duty drops, they notice the drop in, like, sales for every other form of media, whether that be movies or music or, like, Netflix streaming. On a day that Call of Duty drops, apparently their viewer count drops significantly. Like, that's how big a title it is, which is fucking sort of worrying if you're another company going, oh, fuck, that wasn't tied to anyone and now it could be. That's a fucking big juggernaut.
It's like they've meeting for that, but they found out there's a guy just bursting into the CEO's room. It was like, sir, they've come for the cash cow. Like, mother of God.
So, Microsoft has somewhat said that they're looking to keep Call of Duty as a multi-platform franchise. Whether that stays that way or just for the next title, we'll see. I think the thing that's probably making Sony quake a little is they've been getting exclusive or early content for Call of Duty for a while now.
Yeah.
If Microsoft takes over, guess what's going out the window?
Yeah, friggin' oath. Like some of that content was nothing. I think it might have been a skin here or early access to a map here or there. And it's like, you get it in a year later. That didn't always work. Sometimes it was 18 months. Sometimes it was near fucking 2 years later. Which was absolute bullshit if you're an Xbox gamer, which I was for a long time. It's like, I just want to play the fucking map, or I just want that new set of fucking guns. Why can't I do that? And now with crossplay, it's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And now they're absolutely going to be troubling.
And all that is, if it continues, if Microsoft owns them, guess where all that exclusive content's going?
Fucking oath.
Ain't gotta be PlayStation.
No, and sure, this iteration of Call of Duty, sure, it'll be on PlayStation. The next one too, and the next 3 will be on PlayStation. But eventually down the line, it's like, no, no. Like, it's the same as when they bought Bethesda, I think, or the next Skyrim is likely going to be an Xbox exclusive. Starfield, all of those titles that when they first announced it, they're going to be on everything. You know, no, you want to play that? Come to Xbox. That's got to be a real kick in the teeth to PlayStation, because there's not a lot of other major companies out there that they can buy with titles that have that much of an impact. Ubisoft, maybe, but they haven't launched a title that has had that big of an impact in a fucking long time. They've run more IPs down than they've brought up. Assassin's Creed isn't what it used to be. Ghost Recon isn't what it used to be. They haven't had a decent Splinter Cell in a long fucking time.
Yeah. Their main franchises have taken a dive.
There aren't a lot of other independent major franchises out there.
I do believe Sony did just sign, if not buy, I'm gonna check
Bungie.
this before I say, Bungie.
Yeah, they've bought Bungie and the development of Destiny 2, I think it is, which is yay.
Pretty much. But it's the last big franchise group that you can probably likely get a hold of right now.
Yeah.
So it's
okay. Should have seen what CD Projekt Red do next, and if they fuck up, trying to pick them up cheap. If they'd pull another Cyberpunk.
There'd be a few sharks
Well, I
in the
don't
water
think
for
that's
that
going to
one,
happen a second time.
I fucking hope.
I hope not.
I don't know.
There's going to be some sharks in the water just waiting for that one to fuck up. Come on, please drop the ball.
Oh, very much so.
Stuff.
And even Ubisoft for a while there was we've got enough to go independent. No one's going to buy us. It's why is no one even trying to buy us? We're available. Someone put in an offer.
No one would even think of buying us. Disney
look at your titles
in the corner.
Look what you've done to Ghost Recon. Look what you're doing to Assassin's Creed.
I'm
why would we?
Just waiting for one of these big companies.
We'll let you run yourself into the ground a little further, and then we'll pick you up for real cheap.
Yeah. When they tank, you just imagine Disney will be there, just appearing from the corner, hello, we've come for your things.
Would you like to become part of Lucas Interactive?
Join the House of Mouse.
That could be quite possible. They're already doing the Avatar game. They're apparently working on a Star Wars game. They've already got ties to Disney, so if they fuck up a title and drop in value, Disney might just, hey guy, come here.
We're going to clear out the top end and just replace it with ours.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We've got some pocket change we're going to throw at you. Now you're ours.
We cracked out the animated swear jar. We can buy it with that. They're saving the programmer swear jar for when something interesting comes along.
The next Assassin's Creed DLC will be fucking mouse ears.
Yeah. Done.
Can you imagine running around stabbing people with a wrist blade dressed as Mickey Mouse?
That would be pretty fun. Just make a game and work in there like a noble House of Mouse.
God damn, he's already got the cloaked outfit from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, he does too.
Pull the hood up, fuck yeah.
Fuck. They could absolutely do Assassin's Creed Disneyland.
Oh, that'd be fun.
The next Kingdom Hearts, they go, alright, what world are we in now? And then just fucking main character stab straight in the back of the head. Alright, off we go again. Let's get the fuck out of this world.
But
I just want Hitman.
I would finally get to assassinate Goofy.
I just imagine Hitman joins the Disney repertoire. Where should we go now, Sora? Sora, you got really tall. Why are you bald now? It is no reason to question this. Keep going.
I'm carrying the Keyblade. This is who I am.
And it's just Agent 47 in Sora's clothes.
Yeah.
That's actually a thought. Hitman is IO Interactive, isn't it?
Yes.
I think so.
And they're still independent.
Yeah, true.
Or are they owned by, I think, or weren't they Konami or Capcom?
I think someone owns.
I thought they were a subsidiary of someone.
It might be Capcom.
But, like, there are still developers out there, I suppose. But
There's a few.
what fish is going to be the next one to get landed, I suppose, is the biggest question.
They're owned by Square Enix.
Well, there you go. Square Enix just fucked off all of their Western Hemisphere development shit. So they're probably out in the open.
Feeling very naked and exposed.
Yeah, like between...
according to the wiki, they're still owned by... Oh, no, wait, that was still 2017.
Yeah, so they got rid of Hitman, Tomb Raider, Deus Ex. They got rid of a whole heap of shit.
I actually quite like the Tomb Raider games, the most recent ones.
Me too. The newer ones have been amazing.
They've been fun. Like, the most recent one was a bit strange story-wise, but I still enjoyed it.
Hell, Seth and I dumped about friggin' like, we could have bought an actual copy of the game in the money we dumped into those stupid arcade shooter games to play through it. But that was fucking awesome. We played through like 90% of it before we realised the gun we've been firing single shot the entire game. You can hold the trigger and it's actually fully automatic. It's like, wow, this is so much easier now. You can just hold the trigger and point.
You're accidentally like hard moding yourselves.
I think it was like the back quarter of that game was so easy once we realised it's an automatic pistol.
Yeah, so I'm getting cramp in my finger, but I'm going to kill him anyway. It's like, wait, I can just hold it? Oh, god damn.
Amazing.
Because like we were getting really pissed off because there were all like these enemies that would run at you and then they'd go in like a berserk mode and wouldn't get stunned. It's like, how are you supposed to shoot these fast enough?
Yeah.
You're supposed to hold the trigger.
Yeah, you just meant to hold on them for a second. It's like, oh, okay. We could have literally just bought 2 copies of the actual game and gone and played that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I can't remember what the name of that bar is, but fuck a shout out to that joint. I'd highly recommend that.
Be Lucky and Sons.
Yeah. Good
There you
place.
go.
I like that one.
If you're in Brisbane, check it out. Fucking great place.
Hell yeah. It's basically a time zone that fucked a bar.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's the weird offspring from it. I really hope they expand soon. I want to see what they can add on to that.
I would love that. Well, I think it's time, given that it's the middle of the month, that we talk about our books.
All right. That was
We read A Long Journey to a Small Angry Planet.
Good book.
And, yeah, I really fucking liked this book. It was a lot of... It was I think Dan said it best. It's basically like slice of life, but in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slice of life sci-fi.
The weird thing is, like, I was still going through the 10 Realms, and I got to a point where I was like, I should really switch over. And I switched to the new book just to get through and read, and make sure I had things for today. And I really enjoyed it. It was the weirdest palate cleanser after going from the 10 Realms. Like, and then I went back to it afterwards, and I'm somehow reinvigorated for that book. It's like, how did this... What is this? Why?
Yeah. And...
I think it's mostly just because you went from a book series that's so big and epic and everything these guys are doing are reshaping the world. And then you just went to a book where, like, the most interesting thing about the crew is one of them turns out to be a clone.
Yeah. Like...
Yeah.
And honestly, not a lot happens as a result of that revelation.
But they
literally skimmed straight out of that.
Yeah.
I liked that the aliens were suitably alien. They were interesting. They weren't just different skinned humans.
I can't picture in my head quite what Dr. Chef is.
I have no idea. I keep thinking of the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, and I don't know why.
I thought he was like a centipede, but then like they kept describing it. I'm like, no, that's not right. I cannot picture him. My brain does not have the reference to decide what he looks like.
I kept thinking like a 6 or 8 armed monkey, like just with all hands. So it's just a ball of like 6 or 8 hands and a head. That's it. That's all I could picture it as, and it kept fucking changing.
Yeah, like it just changed depending on what was happening in the book. It's like, I don't know what you are, but I love your character.
Yeah.
Because like they'd have him talking and it'd be like, oh, that I can picture him as the centipede, and then they'd have him be like, oh, he's making these like weird noises which are like him laughing and things like that. And I'm like, no, that my picture in my head isn't right. And I think it's particularly telling, particularly with his character, that all three of us picture him differently.
Yeah. And the fact that like, they mentioned he puffs his cheeks, and it's like, this is such a strange image.
Yeah. But for an alien that's supposed to be from a dying race, of which you're probably never going to see another one, he feels absolutely suitably alien.
I like the fact that his race was that they start female, and as they age, they become male, once they hit basically menopause. But that means that there is a life expectancy on his species now.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a straight out, if like something happens and either too many old or too many young die, that's a straight out catastrophic event for the entire species.
In the story, his race is dying. There's only like 300 of them left, and that's it. They're an extinct species. They just haven't died yet.
As an evolution, that's all it takes. Like just one major event, and that's exactly what happens. They've literally they go through and describe the war they've been through. And it's like, holy fuck, that sounds horrific.
Oh no, like the Ripper bullets that they talk about.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's just fucking brutal. But actually going through it and like they get to the end of the war, it's like the war didn't stop. Everyone just sort of like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like we're done. Like we're done with the universe. We're just out.
Enough of the higher ups died that the rest of the people who are still fighting, like, why the fuck are we still fighting? Like,
But like all the way through, it was very much like you could see it as a slice of life anime. Like here's the first episode. This is what happens. Here's all the crew. You know, here's the first major event. There's your episode. That's tied up in a bow. Next episode. And they go through the whole, like, each character on the ship has, like, their major event that they're worried the rest of the crew will find out or something they need to break through. And they go through the entire ship.
Yeah.
And then they get to the end. It's like, oh my god, this has fucking happened. Like, you can see the big epic event. Like, you can see that'd be the 45-minute to hour-long episode. And then the big monologue at the end of like, how fucking dare you do this? You don't really give a fuck about all of this. And then like you fade to black. Season 2. It's like, you can see that. It's very much a script for an anime right there.
It's built for it, I swear. It's amazing. And every character, I really enjoyed the characters. Even the one who you're meant to hate, by the end of it, it's like, you're not that big of a douchebag, okay? But I get that.
You're a douche. But you're a douche I can sort of understand.
Yeah, I get why you're a douche, you know, because that all came full circle.
I understand your character a little more, and you're still a fuckwit, but I can see why you're a fuckwit now.
Yeah. Like,
and I really got to give some credit to the person that got to read the book, because they really brought it to make each character feel alive. Particularly Kizzy.
Yeah.
The female mechanic. Like, that, I swear to God, that has to be that voice actor's favorite character, because they go to the fucking wall to make this character sound so energetic and so fun
so
and bubbly.
And fun. It was, I liked it.
So, that character reminded me of, what's the name from Firefly?
Yeah, Kaylee.
Jules?
Yeah, Kaylee from Firefly. It was like, that's all I could picture in my head. Like, these characters like, oh my god, let's fix a ship, let's do something.
Yeah.
And like, that was just fucking cool. It's like, we're gonna get raided? They're gonna find my stash. Oh shit. That was just fucking brilliant.
The space cops. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that is a thing that I want to talk about. The fact that their drug was called Smash, and I'm assuming when this book was written, it didn't have the same connotations that it does now. Because at one point, the guy is like, hey, smash before bed? I'm like, hold up!
Yeah.
That was a fun one. Jinx, that's who it was.
Yeah.
That's the other mechanic.
Yeah.
Who actually probably gets the most brutal arc in this book.
Yeah, no, he does.
Oh, fucking oath. And like for their counterpart characters, like, holy shit, like this is a pretty cool character, and then like there's that chance, oh my god, are they gonna wake up? Oh. Well, fuck you and fuck this book.
Yeah, no,
I mean, like, we're okay. I'm gonna say spoiler here, because I really want to talk about Jenks's arc, because I think it's probably the most interesting in the whole book.
Do you want to wait for like the last one to go through his arc, or?
All right, we'll talk about the other characters first, but like, I really do want to talk about Jenks.
Oh yeah.
So, spoiler alert, because it might go a little more in depth with some of the characters. So,
yeah.
Hey.
God, my brain is blanking on character names.
It's just too much info. Character names are just shut out the window.
It's more that like some of the characters get more time than others, and some of them have more memorable arcs than others.
Yeah.
Or they're like arcs that are probably going to happen more in the next 3 books that these characters exist in. I think the main character was Rosemary?
Yeah, Rosemary. It was all from her perspective.
So a lot of she gets to be kind of part of everyone's story to some degree.
Yeah.
She's kind of probably got the most passive, even her secret isn't that revelation-y.
And in the end, like, her story arc of, like, why she's where she is and, like, why she's run away from her family, and then the revelation of when she's on the near the small angry planet, and she can see the impact of that. Like, there's these aliens with the guns that her father sold, and it's like, that's where it's sort of her arc hits. Like, her arc happens way earlier in the book, but the impact of it doesn't hit until much later.
Oh, yeah.
And it really feels like it hits because of that.
Yeah, like the way the character suddenly goes, oh, fuck, this is the impact this has had. Like, not just, it's affected me so much, I can't escape. It's like, no, this is going to affect, like, a lot of people.
So many. Like, it was a fun arc, but Sissix was the pilot, the lizard, which I liked, and the background for that species. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. They actually do a really good job.
Yeah, and it was good in that it, like, normally you read a book and it's like, the reptile race, okay, this is either going to be like a vicious barbarian or bloodthirsty, or it's going to be the main fighter in some fashion. Not in this case. And I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
In fact, they have there's a really great scene, probably about a third of the way into the book, where Sissix runs into another one of her race, and they have this really, like, long, tender moment, and you get to find out a lot more about how their society works, and you find out that this person has communication problems, and that is a real issue for her species because they use verbal and non-verbal communication, and this person would be the equivalent of someone for a human who would heavily stutter.
Yeah.
Heavily stutter, or an autism kind of thing. Like, they have no way to actually connect to the people around them, and that's the major issue with their society, because you have to be able to connect. They're a very free love, open, touchy-feely society, and this one individual in all of that can't do it.
Yeah.
And when you first read it, you look at it and go, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this lizard is just shagging in the middle of the street. And then you learn why the whole thing is going on. It's like, oh, fuck, that was so much more than just, like, lizards getting it on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that's really interesting about it is, like, because you're getting the perspective from Rosemary and Kizzy, and they think that they're about to fuck, and then they don't. And then you find out later that it was all about that physical contact. That Sissix was just trying to give someone who is essentially touch deprived a little piece of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because, like, there's other of her race on this planet, but they ignore this one because they can't communicate properly.
Yeah.
And Sissix takes the time, and it's just a really great scene, and you get to learn so much more about how their race functions. It's just all woven, like, this happens all through the book with all the characters.
Yeah.
The only issue I had...
You don't feel like you get
affect the world that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't feel like there's this giant plot dump of, this is how my culture works. It's just part of the story.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not just, like, spoon-fed, like, here's this person, here is their culture. Now, expect that for the rest of the book. It's literally you're in a character, you're the eyes of the character in this world, and the world is just happening, and then you find out the little bit of depth maybe well after the events that have happened. Then you can look back on them and go, oh, fuck, all right, you're literally taking the view of the character and learning what that actually meant. It's not just, okay, this happened, now here's expletive of why everything is happening. Anyway, back to the story.
Because it also wasn't just that touch-deprived thing, because that's also when they talked about the feathers. Passing the feather back and forth means that you fundamentally touch someone's life.
Yeah, not just a passing, hey, how you going? It's like, this interaction has changed me in a way for either the positive or however, but here's a piece of me, and like that's just a really interesting way of putting it. Like these lizard people have got this big thing of feathers, but they keep their own collection of other people's feathers on their wall. That's
It goes further than that, because their race is split up into 3 sets. You have your hatchling group, the groups you associate with, and what they call your feather family.
Yeah.
And your feather family is the groups of people that you have given feathers to or received feathers from.
Yeah.
So the act of giving feathers isn't even just a respect thing. It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this character takes everyone home for pretty much Thanksgiving, and it's like, what if there's someone in your feather family you don't like? It's like, well, you understand that someone else in the feather family does like them enough to have them here, and you may have your differences, but you need to get along with everyone, so you just deal with it.
You suck it up,
that's pretty fucking cool. Like, I know not everyone gets along with the family they're born to, and it's just like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice departure from the standard, big dumb lizard archetype. Which is cool.
Big dumb lizard.
Absolutely.
Eat everything.
The only issue I had with that whole scene where she meets the other lizard is directly after that is the scene where she's molting. And it's not explained until a good way into that scene that she's molting, that she's shedding.
Yeah.
Like, did she catch a rash from this other person?
Yeah, is that an STD? What the fuck? But again, you're looking at it through the character's eyes, because that character has no idea what the fuck is going on until later on when they're told about it.
Yeah.
And it helps make them feel suitably alien, because, if you think about it, we're used to seeing, we see snakes and stuff shed, but it's not that big a deal. It's not so extreme, but you scale that up to a person-sized creature, and it's not even coming off in one simple sheet. It would look terrifying if you didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And they try to convey that, and they do a reasonable job of me going, like, what the fuck is this? What is wrong with Sissix? And then it's like, the Dr. Chef just gets out essentially a big fucking file and just starts grating off the old skin.
A file and chamomile lotion, just rubs it in and files it off.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jinx.
Yes.
Okay. There were a couple other decent characters, but they have, again, their plots aren't really that explained. Kizzy's is mostly just a background character, but she is so infectious. The Captain and Pei is something that I think will happen in a later book. It's mostly set up this time. Yeah. And same with the Sidonid pair. Their story, I think, will continue more in later books than in this one.
That's a smaller arc for a bigger thing later on, how it feels anyway.
But Jinx's one is the big one, and actually, I really love a lot of the stuff they did with this. So Jinx is another mechanic, and they have an AI on the ship. It's actually called Lovelace, but because it's been with them so long, they've nicknamed it Lovey. And it's developed over the years in having its own personality and the whatnot. And Jinx actually loves the AI.
Yeah.
And there's this really great scene where I thought was going to get weird, and then I actually think was really, really good, where he's in the big pit where Lovey's core is. And at one point they're talking, and I can't remember what he said. He basically says they talk about how he wants to sleep for a little bit. And what he does is he takes off all his clothes, and I'm like, what the fuck is he going to try and fuck this computer?
Yeah, no, I had that exact same thought.
This is fucking weird. And then he doesn't. What he does is he sits down in the core pit right up against where Lovey's core is, leaning against it, and gets her to turn off all the cooling vents so that the room becomes warm, so that it's like he's pressing up against a warm body.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, there's nothing creepy here. This actually feels like if two people were just cuddling, but it's between a dude and a machine, but it's told, and the scene is so well crafted, you feel some of the emotion he has toward this machine.
And all the way through, I thought myself reading it as is this we're going to get to the end and it's just a computer program? It's little more than an AI that's just sort of grown these responses. But then you find later on that from the minute it's been turned on, it records everything that goes on in the ship.
Yeah.
And every interaction for everyone else is just dumped in a file. But every interaction with Jinx is carefully put in its own separate file and labeled and dated, and like, so there's an actual like completely different connection there than it has to everyone else on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going through it, it's like, holy fuck, like once you start to see like the difference it has with the interaction between him and the care he has to every other character's, like everyone else sort of treats it like a computer, and it's not until the end of the captain starts saying it's another crew member. But Jinx has said that from the fucking get-go.
Yeah.
And just the difference there.
There's this great plot with him where he's trying to get a body for her.
Yeah.
And he actually does end up paying for it, and he gets it, but they get attacked by pirates, and
no, this was when the Sloan gets hit.
No, this when they hit from the angry planet.
No, I'm talking about before that, when he decides that they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's after the pirates when he realizes that he could have lost her if she wasn't part of the ship.
That contributed, but he makes it a change when the guy's caught for being a clone, because it was so many decades after and he's still caught.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. I knew it was somewhere in there. I couldn't remember exactly, because I know he starts questioning it after the pirates. Because he knows that one of the big reasons that Lovey was safe was they weren't going to trash Lovey. But if she'd had a body, they might have.
Yeah.
But you're right, it is after the clone, because they're worried about getting caught at some point, because Lovey will be destroyed if she's in a body, if the authorities catch her. And they had this great arc where he constantly asks Lovey, like, what do you want? He treats the AI not like a thing that he can get out and then, oh yes, I have my robo-girlfriend. No, he treats her like a person, and he wants to get to this body, but only if she truly wants it. And they get to this weird point where it's like, well, maybe just you and a core and me and a bay is as much as we need. We don't have to use the body if we don't want to. But the big crux of the whole thing is they get to the angry planet and all the aliens there, and as they're getting ready to do their big tunnel back, they get shot. And the ship is heavily damaged, and they get to a point where Lovey is essentially dying. She isn't connected.
How they handled that is fucking that was a really, like, you actually gave a fuck about an AI that was dying in this thing. Like, everything's falling apart and breaking, and how it's affecting that character is like, wow, like, it's not a flesh and blood character. You're actually writing an AI in a way that you can't just turn it off and on again. Like, that was really fucking interesting.
But it's even worse
and then,
than
of course,
considering they have that Hail Mary chance to bring her back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they actually do the on and off again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, they'll turn it off, they'll turn it on, and Lovey will be alive. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it's not. Lovey resets to factory default.
Yeah.
And has none of the last, I think it's 3 years they've had Lovey.
Yeah,
has none of those experiences. Doesn't know anybody.
The reason they think there's a chance is because, like, Lovey saved its entire fucking memory banks into different parts of the ship, and so when they turn it off and back on again, like, it was the flip of the coin of whether it'll recognize that those files are its own files or just scrap things and get rid of the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck, like, well, this has been a pretty, like, not exactly lighthearted, but it hasn't been a rip and tear book for the entire fucking thing. Like, they're going to turn it back on and you're going to get Lovey back. And it's like, oh shit, there was the fucking tense moment. No, then they just stab you and fucking start twisting.
Yeah.
And, like, the reaction from Jenks is so visceral, even with, like, they don't give you many scenes with him. They don't like talk about, like, how he's, like, crying and not. No, you just hear mostly secondhand accounts of what Jenks does from other people reacting to it. Like, apparently he bolted for the escape pods and threw himself into one because Lovey's dead.
Yeah.
And people had to go get him, and they're really worried because he's just grieving. And it's so intense, but, like, none of it's with, like, some dude going, my robot's dead.
Yeah.
No, you just get the emotion part without
it feels like someone who's lost a loved one, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah. all they're left with is a husk and memories, and they can look at this AI when it's turned back on, but it's not that person anymore. It's like, oh, that's fucked. Like, that would suck worse than actually losing someone.
Yeah, it's a definite twist of the knife, and it's really well done, but it's like, why? But also fucking amazing. So it's just, and then they decide, like, another arc that I think will be in another book is, like, Lovey then takes the body the robot body that they'd already organized elsewhere, just so this AI, who is, I suppose, sentient, I don't know if it needs to grow more or not, but it'd be too hard for Jinx to be on this ship, but Jinx wants to stay on that ship, so Lovey fucks off in a robot body, and they get another AI who then starts to become a bit more of the family, because that open wound is no longer sitting there every time they need help for doing anything on the ship. It's like, that was like just an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, that new AI, was that the one from when the captain goes to the hearing or goes to the meeting? Cause it is. Because that's when the captain stops and asks the AI its name.
Yeah, because from the beginning of the book, every time they go anywhere, Jinx is like, he's the one that stands back and talks to the AI that's giving the safety announcement. He sits there and stands through the whole thing, and then thanks the AI at the end of it, because he's got this relationship with Lovey through the whole thing, which you don't really think about. And he's just like, well, it's a quirk of someone who just fucking stands there. And then the captain's like, oh, well, fuck, hang on. Like, Lovey is this, and I now consider that to be part of the crew, which is a person. So maybe all these other AIs are actually people. Then it's like, oh, fuck. Well, thank you for being here. And, like, that was just a really fucking cool write-in.
But it makes me wonder, did he nick that AI? As he's walking out the room after giving the generals a telling off, no, you're coming with me. You're mine now.
Well, if the AI is technically sentient,
true,
couldn't it just go elsewhere?
Yeah, it's true. But I think even Lovey mentions there are other versions of her, so he made some, I'm going to grab that one.
Yeah, the Lovelace is a model of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means they might eventually run into a different Lovelace. Which would be interesting.
Theoretically, and that would be... Ooh, I don't really want to... I mean, I want to read it, but, like, I also don't, because that is going to be a real visceral moment for Jenks.
Yeah, it won't be fun. Also, just as a fun thing to point out, the fact that he comes from space anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Like, there was a human purist who refused to take off their enviro suits if they go out into the galaxy. There's people who have become basically primal again. They've reduced to cavemen because that's how they think they should be. So they hunt for their food and all that kind of stuff. And he was born in one of those communes. And eventually, because things went wrong with his birth, he was malnourished and that kind of thing. He's
malnourished and not looked after.
Yeah, he's very small and that kind of thing. And they're like, we'll just kill him. We can't look after him. He's a burden. So the mother runs and manages to get up to, like, the ring around Earth. It's like, no, that's fine. You were just space anti-vaxxers. This is the strangest thing ever.
Yeah.
When they find a few of the missionaries out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Fuck, I looked at one of them.
I made eye contact. He's coming over. It's like, God damn it. And the only one who gave a fuck was the lizard, the one that you didn't want to fucking talk to.
Pretty much.
Because they're not just space anti-vaxxers, they're like mega space racist.
Yeah, no, they are massively xenophobic to anything that isn't human.
Yeah. Don't look at our Earth flower. It's only our Earth flower.
You can't touch this, it's ours.
But, like, it's really well done. Like, I love that scene because Sissix knows that she's pissing him off.
Yeah.
But she's being so polite about it.
Yeah. And she's the only one that's being polite. The other two humans that he really wants to talk to want absolutely nothing to do with him. And so he wants to get his information out there, but he sort of has to give it to this individual he really doesn't want to fucking talk to. And that's just a great dynamic of the conversation.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed this entire book, and I honestly think I'll keep the other ones hidden away for, like, between books. I'm going from one to another. I'm gonna listen to one of these just to, like, get my head somewhere fun.
a good come down book. Like you read a book that's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, fucking this shit happened, and then it's like, fuck, just a story. That's all I want, and that's exactly what this book was. Very much sci-fi slice of life, and I loved it.
It was great. I'm really happy. And
Yeah.
now, of course, we have to move on to our book for next month.
Which is John Doe's pick.
Yeah.
Yes, it's finally gotten around to me, and I got recommended it by my uncle who's currently listening to it, and I'd never heard of it before, and it's Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, narrated by Trevor White. We'll put a link to it in the description of this episode for anyone that wants to listen as well. It's about a group from the 256 Bomber Squadron during World War II and some of their antics and how they're trying to get the fuck out of the war, but they just can't. The Catch-22 is
the original Catch-22, which is you can only leave the army or whatever armed force if you're crazy, but the sheer fact of saying I might be crazy means you're not crazy. So it's
Yeah, there's a number of other instances of the Catch-22 in there. Like you could fly 50 missions, and then you've got the chance to go home. But if you're ordered by a superior officer to stay, you have to stay.
Yeah,
it's just you've got the chance to go home, and but so I've read a bit of the blurb, and I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what style of book it's going to be, but I'm looking forward to it.
There is a series for it, which I've seen, which is great, but I want to see where they differed. Like, I'm keen to see what's changed between book and TV show. But also, I know for a fact that Colonel Klinger from MASH, the guy who was always trying to get out? Yeah, he was he was based on these kinds of same antics. Because he was doing the thing of, I need to leave, you should let me go, I'm clearly insane. It's like, well, you're not insane, so goodbye.
Yeah, you shouldn't be here, so you're obviously lucid enough.
Yeah. But I'm actually quite keen for this one to be fun.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I read... is this based on something, or is it just straight fictitious?
It's based on real events, but I think they've taken liberty.
Satire of real events. Yeah. It's not exactly like these all happened. It's like instances of this happened here and there, but it's not really an actual thing.
Still, I haven't read anything that's even tried to be factual in a war thing in a while. So I'm actually pretty keen.
Yeah.
Something different, which would be good.
A very turn to left field from what we've been listening to, or
sci-fi we've covered our basics now. We've
lit
gone,
RPG.
Yeah, we've gone fantasy, and now we've gone on to sci-fi, and now it's on to just fiction, or that kind of thing.
Military.
Yeah. So
very interesting. So, I mean, that's a good way to start our first 3 books, is have 3 very different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not normally a genre I'd listen to, but my uncle described it to me and said, that actually sounds pretty interesting, I'd like to listen to it. I thought, what better way than to fucking share it? So, if I've got to suffer through shit, you two have to as well.
That is what this will eventually turn into. Is I just want to try this out, see if it's any good. You'll suffer with me.
I mean, sooner or later we're going to hit the stinker, and we're all going to be like, God damn it, this was the worst month.
We're going to discuss this book. How far did you get? First page. Yep, we're done.
We have to make the rule ahead of time that if you pitch the book, you must listen to that book all the way through. Regardless of the stinker. One person has to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fair. If you pick it, you suffer the whole thing, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, but you got to at least give it a chance. Like, you got to 100%. Do half the book at least.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool, so I think that's pretty much us done for this week. I do want to just shout it out again, that bonus episode with Oliver from New Ed Sword and Sorcery. We were so happy doing that interview, and I just want to yell it out again, because please go listen to it. It was really, really fun, and we really want to have him on again.
Yeah, he was a great bloke, and it is a really awesome topic. Like,
I'm actually really keen to get a hold of a copy of this thing. Especially the fact it comes in hardcover.
Yes!
And after
we don't
talking
want
to
to
him, I've
spoil all
gone
the-
through and read so much more of what he's recommended on there, and it's like, holy fuck! Like, I knew the genre, but I didn't know exactly what the genre was, and it's very, very cool.
And if you want to know more, you're gonna have to go listen to the episode. We're not gonna spoil any more video.
No.
Go check it out. That was a taste.
All right.
Hooked.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.